Hey YouTube, Kira Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Morphtronic Yugioh deck profile for January 2021. The Morphtronics are still one of my favorite Yu-Gi-Oh! 5D's decks, being used by the character Leo in the series as a very fun deck to summon out his main go-to boss monster, Power Tool Dragon, which is what I wanted to focus on for this deck profile as well, focusing on the summoning of the level 7 Machine Dragon, but also being able to summon out some other powerhouses with just how, consistent Morphtronics can special summon out monsters, being still a, risk with the plays used mostly for self-on, but being able to summon out these monsters and then go for other monsters like Shooting Quasar Dragon and a bunch of other Link monsters also. And also being one of my favorite decks to use in Duel Links, just with the same playstyle with just a few less monster zones to use. So definitely one of the more fun decks to use when you have all 5 monster zones to use. Let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the monsters, I am running 3 Morphtronic Self-On, with all the different Morphtronic monsters having different effects, whether they're in attack or defense. You want to focus on Self-On's attack position effect, with the defense one just being one that reveals the top cards of your deck. The attack position one lets you special summon any of the monsters that you reveal for level 4 lower Morphtronic monsters after rolling a 6-sided dice and excavating the top cards of your deck equal to the number you rolled. Being able to summon out other cards, including multiple Self-Ons, gives us access to other Self-Ons to use, since you're not limited to using Self-On once per turn. So if you summon out multiples, you have each dice roll to use. And then if you don't have the tuner summons to go for, you can at least use one of the Self-Ons to summon out a Link Karibo onto the field to defend against some of your other plays. But you have other powerhouse Link monsters for more and more draw power in the deck as well. So just opening up a bunch of different monsters to summon out onto the field is a big plus for sure. So you definitely want to run 3 of this card with our main go-to non-tuner in the deck. For the other non-tuners we're running in the deck, I also run 2 Morphtronic Boomboxen. A main reason I run Boomboxen also for the fact that it can attack twice, one in attack position. In defense position, it can negate an attack, but also being an Earth attribute monster, you can use it to summon out Naturia Beast in the deck, with one of our tuners being the Earth tuner that we run. It's just a great setup to then negate spells that your opponent might play. Only running 2 though. Some of the other non-tuner Morphtronics I run are 2 Morphtronic Slingin. If you summon this out and have multiple Self-Ons, this can just be a great way to destroy cards on your opponent's side of the field, while in attack position, tributing other Morphtronics and then destroying a card on your opponent's field as well. Or in defense, if a Morphtronic card will be destroyed, you can destroy another Morphtronic monster you control instead. So just protection as well for your other cards while in defense position. For those of you that don't know also, which is pretty hilarious, when the Morphtronic monsters are switched to defense in the anime, they switch to their, electronic counterpart, being a boombox, slingshot, and also a cell phone so far. And it's also one of the reasons I really do love just the entire concept of this deck. I also run 2 Morphtronic Stapling, along with being another Earth attribute. Within attack position, your opponent cannot select another monster as an attack target. If it's destroyed by battle, that monster loses 300 attack. So just an Earth target as well. I thought of using cards like Videon as another option for this spot, or even Borden. So if you want to switch up some of the Morphtronic spots, this can definitely be one of the spots to consider another option for. And in defense position, this card cannot be destroyed by battle. If this card is attacked after damage calculation, select one face-up attack position monster on your opponent controls and change it to defense position, and this card to attack position. So you want to start off with the Stapling play and then basically have that protection so your opponent attacks into this, not destroying it by battle. It's more of a defensive strategy against your opponent altogether. But like I said, if you want to try the Borden or the Videon play, since we do run a good amount of equip spells, powering up Videon could be another option as well. For the tuners that we run in the deck, the main go-to one is Morphtronic Smartphone, being another searcher for cards with Morphtronic in its card name by excavating the top cards while in attack position, but it doesn't special summon it, it adds it to your hand. So you're able to also add spells that say Morphtronic in its card name. So even if you reveal these off the excavation, you can search out those Morphtronic cards, being very, very useful for that. And in defense position, once per turn, being able to roll the 6-sided dice, then look at the many cards on the top of your deck and place them on the top or bottom of your deck in any order. So you can set up for Self-On if it's in defense position, but most of the time I like to use it for its search power. And you can special summon it onto the field by just banishing a Morphtronic monster in your graveyard. So even if you summon out Self-On and you special summon your Self-On off of this play, for that setup, once again, Smartphone can be summoned off of Self-On, but you just won't be able to special summon it back onto the field since it wasn't special summoned properly off of its own effect. And then I also run 3 Morphtronic Scoping. This can also be remote, and I've liked Scoping more just for the level 4 monsters we run that you can special summon out with its attack position play, but also with Scoping, if you summon it in defense position, while in defense position it becomes a level 4 monster. So summoning this off of your Selphon makes for a great play also, because then you can choose and adjust the level you want to summon this card out onto the field, and depending on if you even have the level 4 monsters to special summon off of Scoping, will determine if you summon it in attack position to begin with. The last of the monsters that we run in the main deck, I run 3 Morphtronic Lantron. Being with this card, while in attack position, any effect damage you would take from an opponent's card is inflicted to your opponent instead. And while in defense, this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard. You take no battle damage this turn. Just another good defensive card, but it's another level 1 tuner to rely on as well. That's why I'm running 3 of this card. So you always have tuner options with your non-tuners that we run in the deck to summon out cards from the extra deck. And I'm only running Morphtronic monsters because they run the most consistently with the Selphon. I was so disappointed when I ran other cards like Ash Blossom in the deck, and then I would reveal them with the Selphon. And then I was just upset over the fact that you couldn't summon that card because it's not a Morphtronic monster. So I just decided to stick to the pure build for the Morphtronic cards. Now, moving on to the spells, I run 3 Junk Box. You select 1 Morphtronic level 4 lower monster in your graveyard and special summon it and destroy it during the end phase. Its effect is not negated. It can still attack. The only problem is, obviously, that it'll be destroyed. So you can still summon out Selphon using Selphon's Selphon effect to special summon more monsters, and then just use the Selphon for an extra deck play. It doesn't have Morphtronic in its card name, sadly, so you won't be able to use Smartphone to search it out, but that's why I'm running 3 of it, so you just have more and more options to hopefully see this card into your hand to use. After you summon out the extra deck monster with your Morphtronic monsters, this card is a great resource just to reuse all those different cards. But even better as well is Morphtronic Repair Unit. It is an equip spell, so not only is it searchable with one of our go-to boss monsters being the Power Tool Dragon, but also you send 1 Morphtronic monster from your hand to the graveyard and select 1 in your graveyard and special summon that target onto the field. The equipped monster cannot change its battle position, and when this card is removed from the field, you destroy the monster, but you're going to make full use of that monster with this card. And like I said, this equipped spell is searchable with Power Tool Dragon, making it all the better for sure in the deck for that setup. With some of our other equipped spells in the deck being 2 Power Tool, C and D, just a power boost card for Power Tool Dragon or any of our level 4 or higher machine type Morphtronic monsters. So with the level 4s, that's why I'm also sticking to the Stapling over cards like Radion with Slingin, Stapling, and Boomboxin, all being machine. You can also equip them with Power Tool C and D, and also 2 different dimension reincarnation. This card helps to special summon back our banished cards onto the field, and running 7 equip spells just has more and more search targets because you have to reveal 3 with Power Tool Dragon, so you have all these options available to you when searching out the different cards. I also run 3 Machine Duplication. This is mostly used with our Morphtronic Selphon. Being able to have Selphon, activating Machine Duplication and giving us 2 more Selphons on the field gives us 3 dice rolls to use with all the different special summoning power. So a great way to then make use of our main boss monsters in the deck all together. And like I said, you have the option for Lantron as well, but this would just be, going for higher link summons and then tuners available on the field also. So with Selphon being a very important part of the deck for our plays, I also run 3 Where Art Thou. If you control a face-up level 1 monster, which you should, you can control the Selphon, the Lantron, you name it. You add 1 level 1 monster from your deck to your hand during the end phase. Take 2,000 damage if you did not summon that monster. So let's say you have Morphtronics in your graveyard. You can summon out Smartphone, having the level 1, then activate Where Art Thou and search out Selphon, and then normal summon the Selphon and not have to take any of the effect damage because you normal summon that monster. It's just a great way because you can easily special summon out the level 1 and then search out the other ones you need for the play. I cannot stress how much, how important Selphon is for your plays. That's why you definitely want to have all these different search powers for it. I also run 2 Desynchro. One of the best ways for draw power is to go into Formula Synchron with your 2 level 1 monsters, getting your draw, desynchroing, putting them back onto the field, and then being able to reuse Smartphone and Selphon as long as you special summon the Smartphone correctly as well. Remember that. And then be able to use those searches over again, special summoning more resources on the field, and then going back into Formula Synchron again for more draw power. And then for the one-ofs, I run 1 Morphtronic Accelerator. It It's a destruction card. It's also searchable off of Smartphone, being a Morphtronic card in the name. Just running one of it though, because it does shuffle back a Morphtronic in your hand for the destruction, but you do redraw a card, but you want to make sure you at least have the destruction power, and you don't know what you'll be drawing into. +1, 1-for-1, an easy special summon of Selphon onto the field. 1 Foolish Burial for setting up Morphtronics in the graveyard that you can even special summon back using Repair Unit, and 1 Monster Reborn. This is just generic for any special summons, but there's one in particular for sure that you want to special summon out most of the time anyway. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. For our go-to boss monster, I'm running 2 Power Tool Dragon. With this card, once per turn, during the main phase, you can select 3 equip spells from your deck, and then have your opponent pick one of them at random, add to your hand, return the remaining to the deck. If this card will be destroyed while equipped with an equip spell, you can send the card equipped to it instead. So you can either, search out any of the equip spells we run. You can even equip, and reveal the same one. So if you really want Morphtronic Repair Unit and they're all in your deck, reveal the 3, your opponent randomly selects ones, which it doesn't really matter, but then you can add back to your hand, just being more for the resources to summon it back out onto the field. And I also run the 1 Lifestream Dragon. I love using this card. It's such a fun card to use when synchro summon. You can make your life points 4,000. So whether you're, obviously if you're at 8,000, don't do this, but just being able to use this card and then, replenish your life points is a big plus for sure. And also any effect damage you take becomes 0. And if this face-up card would leave the field, would be destroyed, you can remove from play 1 equip spell from your graveyard instead. So being a powerhouse dragon, you can also just keep this card on the field with all the other different equip spells we're running in the deck. I love the art, and I love the whole premise of these 2 cards with Power Tool Dragon. So running it is a great fun way to just make use of the deck also. And having Power Tool Dragon, then just one of our Lantrons to summon it, is the best way to do so also. For some of the other synchros, I run 1 Formula Synchron. This goes great with the level 5 setup, which I also run the 1 Naturia Beast for the spell negation. 1 Librarian. If you set up Librarian and Formula Synchron, that's just more and more draw power. And the 1 Chanbara for the machine power boost. But all these cards are also used so we can summon out Shooting Quasar Dragon, being the 2 level 5s and our tuner play to summon it out. For some of the higher, synchro monsters, I also run 1 Black Rose Dragon with Scopin in our level 4. It's just a good way to destroy all the cards on the field as an option to summon. And I also run 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon and 1 Borreload Savage Dragon. If you link summon this game also, and you don't, want to go to 4,000 life points because of live stream, you can summon out either of these cards and just be just as good, depending on what you may equip with Borreload Savage Dragon or the Crystal Wing for the monster effect negation against your opponent, which I also just revealed the link monsters, but the 1 Link Karibo for the level 1 play is pretty easy there. Nightmare Phoenix was my choice for the Nightmare monsters. You can even try Unicorn or Cerberus, but still prefer this because you want that clear back row against your opponent as well. And 1 Crystron Halcathybrax for the tuner plays. We run plenty of level 3 or lower tuners that you can easily special summon out for that resource. And Saryuja, with all the special summoning we can do, just with the draw power, so you can hopefully get to some particular spells that might be a little more handy, or you didn't search off of the equip, or just more resources. This is a great one to use also. And as for some of the go-to plays, which are definitely my favorite in the deck, if you summon out your Morphtronic Selphon, and then you have your Machine Duplication, I said before, this gives you option to the special summon of 3 monsters that you can easily use to special summon more and more cards on the field. After special summoning, you have the dice roll, which once again, it will rely on luck, but depending on what you reveal, let's say the first roll reveals a Morphtronic Lantron. So then you would use these 2 cards for the synchro summon of your level 2 monster, which is Formula Synchron, giving you another draw into your hand, which if you draw into one of your equip spells, being the Morphtronic Repair Unit as one of your best ones to go for, you can then, if you have another Morphtronic in your hand, discard that Morphtronic, which is activating your Repair Unit, discarding the Morphtronic, and then special summoning out another Selphon onto the field, giving you the activation again, which then you can roll that one's dice first, which, let's say this time you reveal the Scopin, summoning it in defense position to make it a level 4. Using these 2 cards for the synchro summon, remember you can't summon out Naturia Beast because Scopin is a light attribute monster, but you can summon out your high-speed Roy Chambara, but before that, summon out your Librarian, which then hopefully with the last 2 Selphons, you'll be able to reveal another tuner, which if you get lucky and it's Scopin again, summoning out into the field, giving you the level 4 option again to go for the summon of this card on the field as well, to summon out your last of the level 5 monsters, and then go for the big play there with these monsters here, which is your Shooting Quasar Dragon. If you wanted to run Shooting Star Dragon, you can take out the Black Rose Dragon for that spot. For some of the other plays that you can do in the deck, This one revolving around Scopen as your starting card and not your Selphon. Summoning out your Scopen if you have the Staplin in your hand for the summon. This one will revolve around if you have Scopen and also 2 level 4 monsters in your hands. They could be Staplin or even Boomboxing or even Slinging. If you have these cards set up in your hand, you have the option for getting out 2 Power Tool Dragons on the field. So then you'll summon out your Scopen and then activate the effect of Scopen to summon out either Slinging or Staplin. It doesn't matter. Going for a level 7 Synchro, which you'll summon out your first Power Tool Dragon. And then just using this card alone, you will activate this card's effect and you will reveal 3 Morphtronic Repair units as well. So with this card, your opponent will have to pick the Repair unit, which then you will add the 1 to your hand. And then once again, with these 2 cards in the graveyard, as long as you have, let's say, another Morphtronic in your hand along with the summon, you will then activate the Morphtronic Repair unit, discarding the other Morphtronic that's in your hand. So then you can target the Morphtronic Scopen, summoning it out onto the field, and then using Scopen again to special summon another Morphtronic into your hand, giving you another level 7 option, which then you can use to get out a second Power Tool Dragon onto the field. And then you can use this Power Tool Dragon to then go for your more powerhouse play, whether it be for the Banish or the Power Tool C&D, being able to target one of these cards, adding it, equipping it to one of your other Power Tool Dragons. But if you have the smartphone in your hand, I do recommend first doing the Banish to special summon this card, because then you can go for your level 8 play and then have a more powerhouse monster on the field and then go for the Power Tool, because more than likely the smartphone will be able to search out the card you want to use for the discard for your Morphtronic Repair unit. But that's what's really fun about the Morphtronic deck. There are so many different plays you can go into and make. It just all depends on a little bit of luck with Selphon or just what you have in your hand altogether. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. I definitely have a lot of fun making all these different Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds decks. I've made the Red Dragon Archfiend, Stardust, Morphtronics. I may even focus on one maybe that Luna can use. I know that Ancient Fairy Dragon is banned, but we still have the other variants, including the manga one, to use for this deck. I may even look at Black Rose Dragon in the upcoming future. But that is all for the video. I hope you all enjoyed. Until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Twig out.